Stop fighting your prospect's brain. What is this? Stick with me because I want to go through a training that I put together for a few of my clients here recently. It's going to be a little bit fast. It's going to be quick. If you're wanting to stick around towards the end, you can look at the part of the comments. You're going to see that I also have a micro GPT that will help you answer and put your own content through this thing. Stick with me. You're going to find out it's going to be great, fun, and fast. It's called Flow360. Let me bring up that slideshow presentation and we're going to get rolling through this right now. So here we go. This is Focus 360 and it's just a simple concept. Stop fighting your brain's prospects. So welcome. For the next few minutes, I'm going to show you why our marketing isn't working, why your marketing might not be working, and more importantly, how to fix it. So we're going to dive in. So $127,000 mistake in 2019, a Fortune 500 company invested $127,000 in a single campaign. It was beautiful, creative, award-winning copy. They spent a lot of time, perfect targeting. They thought they just had this, it's going to be great. And it tanked their conversion rate by over 34%. Why? Because they violated a fundamental principle that your brain has been following since childhood. Well, what is this? It violated a $480 million principle. This principle is so fundamental that when you break it, it doesn't matter how good your offer is, your prospects' brains simply shut down. So it's been hardwired into human cognition since our ancestors first learned how to identify the threats and opportunities, and every modern marketer is fighting against it. So we don't often even know that this is the case. So what is this? You're probably violating it right now. What is this? In your emails, your landing pages, your social posts, your ads, etc. And this is what keeps me up at night. You're probably violating it everywhere, not in one place, legitimately everywhere, and it's costing you conversions every single day. Well, this is the 0.05 second rule. This is the 5-second rule. Here's what nobody tells you about marketing. Your prospects make a decision about your emails, your landing pages, your ads in under half a second. In fact, a lot of people now know it's the 3 seconds. This is what we end up with your hook on your videos. That's faster than they can consciously process what they're looking at. Their brain has already decided before they even know that they're deciding. So 3 questions you can ask every single time. Should I stop is what we're thinking. Is it worth the interrupt of my current task? Is it worth my time? Will this actually benefit me right now? And what do I do next? What is the clear action I should take? Their brain sees your marketing and asks these 3 questions in order before they even know they're asking them. Stop, scan, decide. This is the sequence that never changes. Stopping, which is the pattern interrupt, scanning, what is the value with what we're looking at, and deciding the action that's to be taken. This is the sequence every time for every human on earth. And when your marketing doesn't match the sequence, your prospect brain has to work backwards, which is what we don't want. The human brain is lazy, and that's not an insult. It's just what it is. When your marketing forces them to work backwards, their brain has to figure out what you want them to do. They have to determine why they should even care, and they have to decide if they should stop in the first place. And the human brain, it won't do it. Don't be mistaken. It's not a plan. It's not a fun thing. It's legitimately the case. The brain conserves energy, not because prospects are not because they're dumb or they don't know. It's not because you maybe even have a weak offer, but it's because the brain is lazy. It conserves energy. So working backwards requires energy your brain refuses to spend. It's evolutionary efficiency. If you think about this, the brain takes shortcuts to survive. And marketing that requires mental gymnastics, they do not work. Okay, that's not a shortcut. That's an obstacle for your brain. So it quits. The brain does not want so the brain does what every lazy brain wants to do. And that's something, if it requires too much effort, it just is done. It checks out. Think about yourself really quick. Have you ever lost attention? Not because it was wrong, not because the targeting was off, but because you simply asked the brain to do something fundamental that it refused to do. This happens all the time. And unless it's super entertaining, unless it's going to stop the scroll, our minds legitimately want us to do things. How many of you here could put your hands up if you were to say, hey, I've been there and the remote's been down at the other side. And you're like, hey, son, would you mind grabbing me that remote over there? And legitimately you could lean over to grab it. How many haven't done that? Somewhere you've just asked somebody to hand you something that legitimately is just super close or quick. You could probably get it on your own. Just wanted you to quickly think about that as part of what that is. It makes me laugh because that happens all the time. So let me know. Let me show you where you're losing people. Pull up an email that you sent recently, an email Think about anyone. Take a look at this. You can even do this regarding an email that you probably have received. We're going to walk through exactly where you're losing prospects, and it's probably happening in all three stages. Let's diagnose this together, checkpoint by checkpoint. So we're going to move through this pretty quick. Checkpoint 1 is the stop. Generic headlines, newsletter, October updates. Yeah. You don't want to miss this? Sure. Seen 100 times before. The brain categorizes this and it ignores it, instantaneously. So pattern, break, subject. You're losing 10K a month, right? The 3 places revenue leaks. This actually causes your mind to start to say, what are the 3 places? Am I losing 10K a month? Curiosity gaps is ideally what we want to look at that helps break the pattern. The brain says, wait, what is it? In the first 3 seconds, your subject line and your preview text, if they do not interrupt their pattern, or if you write something that they've already ignored dozens and dozens of time, you're out. They're going to go past it and they're not going to stop. Now, I was going to say this really quick because one of the reasons I wanted to bring this up is as I've talked with individuals and businesses, what they don't realize, and we'll just use email as a very simple task. People have tens and 20s or hundreds of emails coming into their inbox. And what we want to do is we can't just be another me too. And the first thing you want to do is you want to stop the scroll, right? That's the stop point. Then we got to be able to scan it, which we have to start to build value. And then we got them to click to take action. So that's one of the key things. That is legitimately what a subject line does on an email. Once you get into it, I will talk about this a little bit more later, but I just thought I would share that. So it's important. Your brain categorizes legitimately in milliseconds. If your subject line is something that they've seen 100 times before, the brain categorizes and it just makes it ignorable and they never open it, right? That happens automatically, unconsciously, legitimately, instantly. You lose them at the stop and everything else that you wrote, they actually never see it. So it just is what happens. So checkpoint 2, this is the scan. If they've opened it, does the first paragraph tell them exactly why it matters to them? Or did you write, hope you're having a great week, or we're excited to share? Think about this. Have you ever written that? Hope you're having a great week, or we're excited to share. I caught myself doing this to a person the other day and I was like, shoot, dang, I got to take some of my own medicine on this. If your prospects has to scroll to figure out what it's about or why they should care, the brain, it's done. It's done. It's not going to stop. So you've got 51 seconds. If you think about this in the middle, if you can really create attention, and often it's way less than this. Often it's about 15 seconds. So you got 51 seconds is the average scan time. How long someone will spend trying to understand your message, the 3-sentence hook to hook them. So this is really, you talk about the upper sentence, the paragraph at the top, you have 3 sentences to prove that it's worth their time. 1 chance to convert. If they don't understand, by then they're gone forever. So average scan time, 51 seconds. Again, often you can consider this 15 seconds. That's all you get. How you're using them is the question I have for you. Are you front loading value or are you burying it underneath the pleasantries? And this is one of the key things in general. The more value you can pack towards the top of this, and the more you can connect, the more likely you're going to keep them going throughout the remainder parts of your piece. Checkpoint 3 is the decision. If they're ready to take action, is there one clear next step? Or you have multiple CTAs, read more, shop now, learn more, plus navigating with 7 different options, plus links scattered throughout. Or if they have to decide what action to take, their brain freezes, decisions, they paralyzes their thoughts, and they're not going to convert. So it's a death of conversion. So multiple options, no decision. When you give prospects multiple competing options, their brain enters decision paralysis. They stop. Instead of taking any action, they take no action. So you lose them at the decision. And the frustrating part is they were ready to convert until you gave them too many options and it lost them. So you're losing them in all 3 stages. If you think about this, there's the stop, generic subject lines, never get open. The scan, confusing body copy, gets skimmed and abandoned. And the decision, multiple CTAs that create paralysis instead of action. Here's the brutal truth. Most of you just realized that you are losing people probably in all 3 stages, not because you're bad at marketing, but because nobody ever taught you what needs to happen regarding the attention and that it has a sequence. You're fighting the $480 million years of evolution. And if you violate it, you're fighting against all of this and you're just not going to win. Your clever copy, your beautiful design, your perfect offer, none of it matters if you're asking the brain to do something it's evolutionary programmed to refuse to do. So there's a fix though. Here's the good news. This fix is simpler than you think. You just need to match your marketing to the way the brain actually processes attention. You don't need a bigger budget. You don't need a new offer. You just need to respect the sequence. And I'm going to show you how to do this. The framework, here you go. Stop is the interrupt pattern, right? Scan, is what we're looking for, is prove it's worth their time, and to decide is give them one clear action. The fix is simpler than you think. You need to match your marketing to the way the brain actually processes attention. Stop, scan, to decide. So we're going to walk through kind of what this looks like as part of an email. Stage one is the stop. This is the 0 to 3 seconds. Your subject line plus preview text is the stop. Preview text, if you're not sure what this is something that usually comes after the subject line. Some email systems let you put in a preview. My recommendation is if you can, it's like a second headline, gives them a second reason to open it. It's always a great idea to do so. The other thing it often can pull is just your first paragraph or your first sentence. So know that. If it doesn't interrupt their pattern, they're never going to open the email. Everything else you wrote is wasted. This is where you win or lose. The first 3 seconds are the most important 3 seconds of your entire campaign. The bad stop, subject line, newsletter October. See what's new this month. Why is it bad? Because the brain has seen this 1,000 times. It's categorized it as generic. So I'm going to ignore. There's no curiosity gap, no pattern interrupt, no reason to break their current task. It's invisible before they even read it. So true. A good stop is something that really makes you have to think. Have I heard? Do I know? And by the way, this works for videos and everything else. There's a whole science behind what you can do to test your 3-second hooks. By the way, this is something that's really great if you're ever running paid ads. Really, really big. They call them color block testing. There's a lot of things you can do to understand where somebody's pain is and what's going to cause them to stop. We can actually do this on social. You can do this a lot of places pretty quickly. But there's the 3 places. Here's an example. You're losing 10K a month and you don't even know about it. Here are the 3 places revenue is leaking in your funnel. Why this is good? Because it's interrupting. It doesn't look like every other email. It creates a gap in their knowledge. Wait, what am I losing? Where am I losing money? Why? Is the trigger curiosity? Some mild, potentially even anxiety. So there's powerful emotions to have you look at. The brain says, wait, what? I need to know more. The rule, create a knowledge gap. So what you want to do is bridge or break a space between what they think is the norm and where they're currently at today. And so that way they feel like they're obligated to now fill that gap. And you must create a gap between what they know and what they need to know. Curiosity drives, opens. Pattern interrupts, drive, stops. So combine the 2, you've now mastered the first checkpoint. The second is the scan. Again, we talked, this could be about 15 seconds, depending on where you're at. You might be blessed with more, depending on the type of reader that you have, or if they already trust and know you. Again, if you're just sending something out to try to get some attention, a lot of this happens if you think about marketing and advertising, specials or special offers or et cetera. Often we kind of mess up on this when we don't do what we need to. So they open your email and now they're scanning, and those are the seconds that the brain is trying to ask themselves, is this worth my time? So the key question is this worth my time? Your job is to guide them from the problem to the solution, to the proof, to the action. So, hey, did you have a problem? By the way, there's part of the solution. Ideally, if proof is, hey, there's others like you that have seen this, and the call to action is the middle part of what this is. So the bad scan, hi, I'm hoping you're having a great week. Again, this is what we talked about, that opening. We wanted to reach out because we've been working on something exciting. Just so you know, I get pretty passionate about this. This is a really, really big one because a lot of times we think people are going to be excited about what we're doing. They're not. Even this video, probably half of you say, I don't really care, because it's all about you. And so hopefully you're going to take something away from what this is for you to apply to what you've got going on. So again, hey, hope you've had a great week. Let's kind of get back in here so you can see this. Hey, hope you're having a great week. We wanted to reach out because we've been working on something exciting. Our team has been researching best practices, blah, 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 blah. What's wrong? 4 sentences in, they still have no idea what they should care about and why. The brain's given up. You've buried the value in the fluff, and the fluff is friction. Again, nobody's going to want to follow this. Keep in mind that you want to make sure this is staying simple and directly to the point. That doesn't work. A good scan. Most businesses are losing this to this, 30 to 40%, potential revenue in 3 specific places in their funnel. Places they don't even know where to look. So that makes me go like, what the heck? Where are they even talking? I swear I know about my funnels. I swear I know about my campaign. I swear I know about my emails. I swear I know about my ads. We just mapped these leaks for 47 companies, average recovering X per month. Here's what we found. So again, this is what's right. The problem, revenue is leaking. The solution, hey, we've mapped some things. By the way, there's some proof. 3 sentence problems, solutions, proof, no fluff, just value. These types of things can deliver significantly more when it comes to somebody being able to scan what they've got going on. My recommendation is for you to take a look at that as well. By the way, if you're with me right now, just know that we'll put in the comments. Again, we have 2 things. One is we have a downloadable page guide that you can take a look at with some AI prompts that you can use to check your own. I also have built out a micro GPT app that is free called Flow360. You can take a look at that, throw any content. You can throw a URL from a landing page, etc. What it's going to do is look for the biggest area and the biggest gap that you have and give you some recommendations on how to fix it. Again, a free tool, my recommendations. Take a look, check that out. All right, the rule, every sentence must pull them deeper. This is an interesting one. I love this because this concept is something that like most people actually don't even know this. If you think about it, and I'm trying to think of a great example, but what you want to do is you want to give somebody something interesting, but you want to keep them coming. And so you need to build step on step on step, which is kind of what we've talked about. So every sentence, the goal is to pull them deeper in and make them feel like they need to know more and more to be more committed, so that when you're ready for the third step, which is your call to action, they're excited to take advantage of it. So again, pull them in. Every sentence must pull them in deeper. Every sentence must pull them in deeper into the email. If a sentence doesn't advance them forward to action, then remember, it's friction. It's going to stop them. Cut it out. It's a roadblock. Think of your email body as a staircase. Each sentence is a step. If the step doesn't move them downwards towards the conversation, remove it. No pleasantries, no filler. Make sure there's just momentum. So stage 3, this is where the decision happens. A moment of action is that they have stopped. They've now scanned, and hopefully you've pulled them deeper. Now, what do you want them to do? This is the decision moment, and most people destroy it by giving too many options. And some people, by the way, just as a fun thing, some people don't give any options. This is one of the biggest areas. Do you actually ask somebody to do something in the email? Are you brave enough to do so? That gets missed way more often than you think. It's like, hey, this is great. What you should say, you should buy now. You should come see now. You should click here, find out more, download now, etc. But again, call to action is critical. So they stop, they scan. What do you want them to do? This is the decision moment. And most people destroy it, again, by giving them too many or multiple options. If you give them 3 buttons, they'll pick one, right? If you give them 1 clear path, they're going to take it. 3, maybe none. 1 is all they have. And this is an interesting thing when you start talking about what you're looking to do to move someone to the next step, is if ideally you've built this up and you've pulled them in, ideally you're just going to give them 1 option at the end to take advantage of it. A bad decision, this is when you lose them. Learn more, button, download the guide. And again, just so you know, you can have different ways of looking at and classifying part of a call to action. However, it should all be towards the same purpose. So what this isn't is, you're not saying that there's a downloadable guide, like, hey, download this, and then you're trying to learn more, take them somewhere else. That's often what happens, is it should all be around, if there's a guide, you want them only to take action to download the guide. So you can say, downloadable guide free, or click here to download your guide. So what we can do is we can still use different terms around the download. What we don't want to do is give them 2 to 3 different options to different places to go on a page. That's not ideal, and it confuses them. So download guide, schedule a call button. So for example, if there's a download the guide and a schedule call on the same page, like where do you want them to go? 3, text links in the body. Sometimes this can work, and I'll just be careful with this, because sometimes we are wanting to introduce people to a series of different things, social medias that we want them to join, different videos we think that would help engage them. That's okay if we're introducing part of our company and we're not looking for action, because we're looking them to be more ingrained in the business and the brand. Again, this is if we're trying to really get somebody to do something specifically. Ideally, we're looking for a call to action. Again, a newsletter that has 5 different things, that's fine. If that's the case, you're doing 1 newsletter a month. How about if you think about breaking that into 4 different sections? So you do 4 newsletters, or in essence, 4 shorts with a section per week, which allows them to have that newsletter more frequently. It means you're in their inbox. That's a better way to do that as well. But we'll go back and continue. So what we've got is the footer navigator with 7 different options. Bad idea. The brain has to just decide which action to take. Again, decision fatigue equals no decision at all, which we don't want. A good decision, 1 button. Run your free, relevant, leak-free audit. This is it. 0 ambiguity, 1 clear path. Why is it good? The brain doesn't have to choose between options. There's 1 path forward, and it's crystal clear. What I'd like to say is, if you guys have thoughts you want to comment on this, feel free to put your comments and insights inside of this, because there are really several different levels that we can look at based on purpose. These are some really good rules of thumb. When we've done this with the business recently, we went into it and just took a look at their emails, and legitimately within 1 week and changing the email stories, we were able to generate another $6,000 of revenue, because we ended up changing the way people saw the emails. They stopped the emails, open rates went up, read-throughs went through, click-throughs went up, add to carts went up, etc., because we did some simple things to take a look at what this was. All right, back at it. The rule, 1 piece of marketing, 1 clear action. 1 piece of marketing, 1 clear action. If you give them multiple paths, they're going to take none. Every email, every landing page, every ad should have one primary goal, not two, not three. One clarity converts, and it kills confusion. So it's good. It's different confusion kills people. An example, before and after. This is kind of a couple things we'll just work through with some email subject lines. Before, again, we talked about this a little bit. We'll just go through some more, couple more samples. Newsletter, Q4 training tips. Plus upcoming webinars and news resource. By the way, so think about this as the before. This is the preview line. Open rate, 8%. The after is, instead of just newsletter Q4 planning tips, is your Q4 plan is missing 3 critical pieces. My mind automatically goes, what 3 pieces am I missing? The preview, most businesses leave 500K on the table in Q4. So this definitely makes me feel like I'm probably could be one of those people. And if there's a 15 extra K on the table, I probably should find out what this is. Open rates, much higher, 34%. Same offer, same audience, different sequence as far as how we're giving them things. 325% increase in opens just by respecting how the brain works and not trying to make it think and creating clarity. Again, here's another one. As far as once you get into the email, if you think about this before, hi, as we head into the fourth quarter, we wanted to share some planning tips that might help you finish your year strong. That sounds like it could be okay, right? Generic, but there's no urgency, buried value. Here's another one. More specifically, every October, we see the same pattern. Businesses scramble to hit their annual targets and miss 3 predictable opportunities. Specific pattern recognition, which is immediate to them and their relevance. Again, here's part of the body again, before and after. Before, 3 different topics, 4 different call to actions. This is if you have these in there: scattered focuses, no clear lines, result, confusion. Obviously, if you were to present 3 opportunities, explain the impact, provide the evidence with 1 clear action steps. We're going to do this all the time. So the body now follows the logic, problem, solution, proof to action. Every sentence earns its place and moves us faster forward. Call to action, another example. Before, multiple call to actions: learn more, download, schedule a call, visit a blog. Decision paralysis, no clarity on what to do next. The key thing after, 1 clear call to action: get your Q4 revenue recovery checklist, 1 button, 1 action, and super clear. The results, here's a couple examples. Before, we were talking about if there's an 8% open rate with a 0.3 click-through. After, we're ending up with that 34% open rate and a 12% click-through. Huge difference with the same audience. Different sequence, meaning same email, same strategy structures, but the way we filled that, followed on this stop scan with our call to action, is all coming together now. So again, same brain, every format. Your emails, subject, body, call to action. Landing pages, same thing: headline, hero, call to action. Social posts, hook, value, action. Your paid ads, interrupts, promises, and clicks. Here's a critical part. This works for every format because it's not about the format. It's about the human brain and how we process information. So a couple things to take a look at. I'll just give you a couple things as a recommendation to look at to fix yours. You just learned the framework. Now let's apply it to your marketing. Think about this. We're going to audit a piece that you can look at to help fix in the next 10 minutes. This isn't just theory. This is not just an exercise. This is actionably a diagnostics, things that you can do. So I'm just going to give you an idea to think about this. This is the 24-hour challenge. So here's what we're going to do right now together. We're going to have you take a look at one piece of marketing that you feel like you can take a look at, stop, scan, decide, and the framework you're looking at. Not tomorrow, not right after the call. I would encourage you to go think about this right now with something that you have in front of you. You're probably sitting at your computer. Pull up an email. Take a look at this to see if you've written something to somebody, because if you don't do it, you're probably never going to do it. Right now, it's the important part, because if you can start putting this into action, you're going to start to apply this and find more success sooner. Again, what we'll do is in the chat down below, in the comments, in the description, look for the micro GPT. You can go ahead and go there for free. Apply, throw in your email, throw in a marketing ad, throw in a landing page, whatever you want to do. It's going to take a look at those 3 things and help you identify and give you some recommendations on what you can do to fix this. That's my recommendation for you to take a look at. We'll go and continue from there. So do it now instead of doing it later. That's just an important part. Choose your marketing piece. Do you have an email sequence, landing page, social post, homepage you could take a look at? Grab something that you're actively working on, which would be good. You're going to take a look in the audit here is you're going to stop. Take a look at the first thing your prospect sees from an email. What is the subject line and the preview text? If it's a landing page, what does the headline and the hero say? A social post, what's your opening line? What is it? Write it down and then diagnose it. Does it interrupt their pattern is my question. Yes or no? Is it stand out? Is it different from what they've seen before? Or no, is it generic again? Does it blend with every other message? Ask yourself, does this interrupt them? their pattern in 3 seconds or less, and you can ask a simple yes or no. Second thing is we start to get into this. Does it create a knowledge gap as part of what this? Does it create a gap in their knowledge? Something that they need to know about, but they don't now. Examples is you're losing 10K per month. Wait, where might that be? 3 mistakes killing your conversion. What are they? Think about this. The one thing that your competitor isn't doing, you're like, is that something that I am or am I not doing? Definitely help. Okay, if you think about this, is it different? Is it unique from what they've already seen 100 times? Is it different from what they've seen? Is it generic, or is it yes or a no? So take a look at yours and ask yourself, generic like everything else, or is it different? If your answer is no to any of these questions, what you need to do is you need to stop and fix it. Your biggest problem is the attention capture sequence, by the way. They're not even engaging with your marketing. This is the most critical thing that you can stop, is if you can't get them to stop the scroll, if you can't get them to stop the emails, you can't get them to decide to look and even read what you've got going on, you're losing the battle already. If you can't get them into something, you can't ever tell them any more of the story. This is the most important step that anybody can have, is this part right here. So understand, stopping it is critical. So write it down, fix the stop. This is your highest leverage fix. If they never open, never click, never stop scrolling, nothing else matters. That is critical. You're going to stop. So here's the quick second point, is the audit. Checkpoint 2 is the scan. Look at the first 3 to 5 sentences of what you've got going on of your hook. What happens in those first few seconds after they engage? Do they immediately understand why this matters, or do they have to try to dig for value? Do they immediately know? Most businesses lose 30 to 40 cents revenue in these 3 places: clear, relevant, urgent. Hoping you have a great week. We've been working on something exciting. Fluff, nobody cares. Do they immediately understand what matters and why it matters to them? Remember, they don't care about you. It's not about what we found that is interesting. Remember, it has to do about what it means for them and what their pains or their desired results are, not what you're doing, because nobody cares about you. They always care about us. We think we always care about ourselves. So understand that and make sure, and you can ask yourself the question, does each sentence pull them deeper? Does the sentence pull them deeper towards action, or do they have to wade through the fluff? Good sentences is the problem, a consequence, solution, and proof. A bad sentence is pleasantries. Hey, there's some updates, generic statements. What is yours? Is yours bringing them in, helping them understand what this is as part of a sentence, and helping them understand they need more? Can they explain it back? This is a great one. Pretty simple if you think about this. This is about finding revenue leaks in my funnel and recovering lost money. So again, if they were to read something, can they explain it back to you with what you're trying to sleuth? So can they explain back to you what it's about in one sentence, or is it too complex? This is a simple clarity test. If your prospects can't summarize your message in 10 words or less, you've lost them. This is a little bit of an art, not necessarily an easy one, because often we're caught in our own minds and our own heads about what we do. So it's not always great. So again, if you've answered no to any of these questions, again, the plan is to diagnose and fix it. Your middle is costing you the engagement, but you're leaving them confusing. So write it down. If there is something, fix the scan. If they've opened it, they've started reading, but you're losing them midway because the value is buried, then your sentences don't flow. You need to make sure you simplify that so that things are not complex. The third thing we'll just talk about here briefly is the decision that's being made. So now look at your calls to action. Quick question, just go ahead and count these in your letter. How many things do you have, or do you not have in there that help draw them in? I had a person ask me, like on a landing page, how many call to actions are too much? And I like to balance this between what I like to say desktop and on your mobile phone. If you have to scroll several pages or several sheets on a mobile phone before you see a potential call to action, even a call to action to move you down the page, then you're probably not doing enough, because we can lose them on a website. It's again, there's not, I will be careful to say there's maybe not a best practice. I'm not necessarily aware. Obviously, we want something what we call above the fold. That's very, very important. If we don't have a call to action or something for them to do as we're on the top of what this is, then unless we're really powerful and we're going to be able to draw them down in, we're missing out on something. So often there's always one right up there in the header. And then often it's every panel is what's called, every major section, or it's every other one is one of those things. And what you want to think about is, if I'm learning and understanding, is it curious? Does it create enough curiosity? I'm like, oh, I should find out more. If they feel like I should find out more, call to action would be a great thing. That's where like, oh, I got to find out more. Let me get this. So if it ever is at a spot where you think that you've created the right gap, then you should give them the solution, because if you've created the gap, we want to help them close it by letting them click the button. So that's an important one to think about. So audit checkpoints, the decision. Now look at your call to action, count them again. How many buttons, links, or action options are you counting them? Primary, secondary, text links, and even the footer and the navigation. If you're on a key landing page, obviously a lot of people get rid of headers and footers so that we don't give them many places to click, because we really want them to stay on this page until they make a decision. That's why you'll know that that is the case. Next time you land on a page, somebody's selling you something, understand and see that. Do a scan on your own to see what there's there. So there's one clear primary action, one clear path instead of multiple options, one button, one action, zero confusion. Again, you can have multiple buttons, but we still want only one action that they'll be taking. 3+ buttons. Are they getting and finding that they're being stopped and slowed and there's this paralysis happening? Is there one clear primary text that they should take, or is there multiple options? Is it obvious? Again, what's happening? So the clear expectations, get your free audit. I know I'm getting an audit. Or is it simply learn more? Again, learn more can be fine if there's enough interest in that and we're trying to get them to another page. Ideally, it would be best to say, why should they go to the other page, and say, learn more about da-da-da-da, or solve this problem next, and give them a reason to go to the next instead of just simply learn more. And if your calls to actions are good enough, then the learn more can be part of what that is, but just be slightly careful with what that is. No mystery, no confusion. And you can ask yourself, is it a yes or no? Does the path lead there naturally? So if you think about this, the last thing as we kind of bring this together is the eye naturally flows as it moves down the page from that to the call to action. Do we have confusing layouts and pieces left, right, and all around the place? Do we make it easy for them to find, or they have to hunt for that call to action? Is a great last thing. If you've answered no, or if you count more than one call to action, this means you got to fix the decision of what your call to action is. You have decision fatigue. Ready buyers are freezing at the moment that they're trying to take action. So write it down. This is something for you to fix. Most of you just wrote down all three. I got to fix the stop. I got to fix the scan. I got to fix the decision. Good. Now you know it's broken, right? So here's your priority. Number one, fix the stop. If they never engage, nothing else matters. Start with the attention capture. Number two, fix the decision. This is the second. So cut down on one clear action to move everybody forward. And really, I flipped these. I'm not sure why I got this, but the scan is part of what we're looking to do. And I guess what I'm saying is we got to get them to stop. At the end of the day, we want them to take action. And what we want to do, number three, and the reason it's third is we need to make sure there's enough value in there in order to make sure that they feel like they want to take the call to action. Don't try to fix everything at once. Focus on the highest leveraging problems first. That might mean if it's fixing the stop, fix one thing, measure the impact, and then move on to the next one. Just so you know, one of the things that we do have for you is there as a quick start toolkit. If you want to go ahead and do the GPT, you're going to find that there's an option inside of that will give you more as well. There's a few other things that we'd love for you to know. Find out more inside of the comments. Follow and subscribe and share. This is just one of those quick, simple things that seems fairly common and obvious, but we find that most people have not even stopped to ask themselves how well they're doing. Again, we did put together a micro GPT that helps you take any one of your pieces of content, landing pages, email, letters, blogs, etc. You can throw it into that. It'll do a quick check. It's called Flow360. And we just can check in the comments with what we've got. We'll love to find out more. We're here at ThriveWorks360. Our goal is to help businesses best define what their DNA is. We'd like to talk about two major strands and connecting those, what it is that you do best. So what is it that you do uniquely? Who is your best buyer? Who are your best customers? And what we find is that a lot of businesses haven't been able to tie those two things together in a message. And we use that in bringing your two strands of your DNA together. And we build what we call foundational consistency. We help connect those with a system that we put in place to help you communicate more consistently what you do and how you solve that from your ideal client and who your best buyers are. We provide a roadmap. That roadmap allows everybody on the team to come together to share the same type of story. What we find is that you have the same team and the same business. We actually help you create more and find more money within that existing system by making sure your DNA is put together. We like to ask the question, are you at a 6, 7, or 8-figure DNA? What type of DNA is your business running on? We'd love to help you find that out. Find more at ThriveWorks360. And we got a couple of videos to take a look at when you got time. Appreciate that. And thanks for your time.